It's been more than 20 years since a New Mexico woman escaped the clutches of the infamous toy box killer.
As the FBI continues searching for David Parker Ray's victims, Cynthia Jaramillo is working to protect women from the next serial rapist. Here's KRQE News 13 anchor Crystal Gutierrez with part 2 of this story of survival.
Mr. Ray, did you kidnap that young woman against her will?
Do you think the next David Parker Ray's out there?
Oh yeah, it's just a matter of...
It's just a matter of time. In a rundown building on Central Avenue where crime runs rampant outside is where Cynthia Jaramillo started helping women who worked the street in Albuquerque just as she once did.
It's just a lot different compared to right now, being out here at night.
Her nonprofit, Street Safe New Mexico, does more than supply socks and toiletries. Their mission is to keep these women alive. To do that, Cynthia and her partner have to find out who could be the next David Parker Ray before he strikes.
I escaped the David Parker Ray incident.
It didn't happen that way.
David Parker Ray, the convicted serial rapist, was serving one of the longest sentences for a crime that did not include a charge of death. But the FBI believes otherwise. Federal agents even dubbed him the toy box killer after discovering a trove of ladies' belongings that now sit in an FBI storage. Possible trophies of heinous crimes? Maybe. But Cynthia doesn't have to imagine what happened inside the trailer that Ray named the toy box. She survived it.
How would you describe those 3 days?
It's hard. Hell. It was hell.
Cynthia's nightmare began here. She was working the streets of Albuquerque when Ray picked her up in an RV, pretending to be a paying customer. Instead,
A girl came out from behind a curtain in the RV, and she shocked me at the cattle prod, and that's when it was a done deal.
after a brief struggle, she woke up naked, handcuffed, and in shackles.
They put a leather mask on my head that had no eyes. It had holes on the nose and a zipper on the mouth.
Then things took an even darker turn.
When I get the urge, I go out, find me some good-looking turns me on, kidnap her, and keep her in my playroom for a while for a sex toy. And this time it's your turn.
That's Ray's voice on a cassette tape that he had recorded 6 years before abducting Cynthia. The FBI believes she's not the only woman Ray's kidnapped after hearing what appears to be a taped confession from Ray himself.
I've tortured girls in ways that I'm not very proud of. When I'm pissed off, I don't mind having blood all over the place. And sometimes they didn't survive.
Ray tracked those kidnappings in a diary, meticulously logging how he tormented each woman. Cynthia's pages would have been filled with 3 days of torture, strapped to a gynecological chair. That's where she was raped and suffered electric shocks, all underneath a sign that read Satan's Den. Former senior FBI profiler Mary Ellen O'Toole has spent her career studying criminals like Ray.
What's the behavior in this case, and what does that behavior mean?
She and her partner were sent to Elephant Butte to study the infamous toy box.
Tom and I put on the white suits and the booties and so forth, and the moment that they opened the door to that trailer, Tom and I both knew.
She says Ray was a sexual sadist, a man who got pleasure from inflicting pain.
Everything within the toy box was placed in certain very precise locations. Some of the instruments that were designed and built by David Parker Ray, they were actually labeled in terms of what they would do. The focal point was the gynecological chair, and it almost gave the impression of an operating room.
After days of sifting through evidence, she would get to meet the toy box killer in person. O'Toole says Ray was a charmer.
I had to tell myself, Mary Ellen, don't forget what you know.
And she's certain she saw a side of him his victims had probably seen.
It made sense to me how somebody like this could fly under the radar screen for many years, and how someone like this could approach a victim.
Cynthia and her partner, Christine Barber, know there are more predators walking the streets just like Ray.
We started the bad guy list because you'd hear about men on the street attacking other, like women.
The Bad Guy List is a newsletter that Cynthia and Christine have been working to perfect, an inventory of potential predators taken straight for the women who escaped.
Serial rapist uses multiple cars, blue GMC Jimmy. Chicano man looks part Native or Asian, age 24 to 25, medium build, has a gun and beats girls. 2 black men pulled in a woman, raped her and beat her up, San Pedro and Central, 1 a.m.
They hand out the flyer to the women working the streets. Then they report the cases to police because the victims won't.
Why are so many of these women scared to go talk to the police after they've been attacked?
Federal agents believe the streets Cynthia worked were Ray's playground, picking his next victim from a lineup of women who were often forgotten.
A lot of them, they don't contact their family, so their family wouldn't know if they were missing. I never called my family on a daily or weekly basis, so they wouldn't know. I don't know when I would have been reported missing or if I would have been reported missing.
And that's what serial predators count on.
They have days, hours, if not days, and that gives them time to distance themselves from the crime.
The serial killer in another cold case that haunts New Mexico has had years.
This is the third body positively identified.
Identifying them now gives them a better profile of the West Mesa killer.
Whoever murdered these women is probably still out there.
In 2009, the remains of 11 women and 1 unborn child were discovered buried in the desert just outside of Albuquerque. Police would reveal almost all of them worked the streets. Each one mysteriously disappeared years before a single bone was ever found. Despite some of their families looking for them, there were no full-blown searches by police or volunteers. When Cynthia disappeared, there were no search parties for her either.
Do you think that's why you watch over other women?
I think so. I think that was my healing process, is being able to help and be there for other women that I didn't have that help.
What happened to Cindy being attacked by a serial killer, what happened to the West Mesa girls being attacked by a serial killer, it's going to happen again. There's no doubt.
Crystal Gutierrez, KRQE News 13.
Street Safe New Mexico has helped hundreds of women on the streets of Albuquerque. Cynthia and Christine work long hours, and that work can be costly. If you want to donate to their nonprofit, we have a link at always on krqe.com.